Of bad doctors.
I'm telling you right now, the man ruined my life.
Are they an incurable disease?
They say the wheels of justice grind very slowly, but when it comes to the medical profession, they've rusted shut.
Watch Eyewitness News, plus 3 days in the life of a dog.
And Bad Doctors, tonight at 5 and 6.
The People's Court today at 4:30.
I shouldn't even be having this one. I want to stay alert at Raven's engagement party.
Yes, we'd better think about getting over there pretty soon. Not that I'm in the mood for it.
Well, I'm not in the mood for it, I'll tell you that. Why is it the bad people in this town can't have all the bad luck the way it's supposed to be? I think of all the thieves and murderers I know are running around on these streets without a care in the world except maybe what they're going to have for dinner tonight.
Unfortunately, they're the ones who haven't confessed to their crimes, the way Nicole did.
You know, I've read her statement maybe a dozen times, trying to find something in it that would help her case. Not that it's my job.
Nor mine. Exactly the opposite, of course. We should be reading that statement with an eye towards helping the prosecution win their case.
She was driven, that's obvious. Was she driven to the point of insanity like Cliff Nelson would have us to believe?
You know, I almost wish he would settle for a plea of extreme provocation, get her off with a light sentence instead of trying for something that may be impossible to sell, especially these days.
Well, you're his friend. Why don't you say something to him?
No, I've already told Cliff. From now on, we go our separate ways. We have to.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. You wouldn't want to raise the specter of collusion between the prosecution and the defense.
Excuse me. Hello?
Hello, Mike. It's Geraldine.
Oh, yes, Geraldine. I suppose you're wondering if we're going to make it to that party.
No, I was worried about Raven making it. She said something about having to talk to Nancy.
Well, she'd have to go to South America to do that. Nancy went there to cover a story. I thought Raven knew that.
Oh, well, yes, well, perhaps I misunderstood. Anyway, all I know is she's supposed to be at Ian Devereaux's house right now, greeting her well-wishers. I haven't the faintest idea where she is.
I'm sorry, Geraldine.
Well, I should know by now what to expect of that girl. I just hope Ian Devereaux learns what to expect.
I imagine she'll turn up sooner or later. Oh, yes, we'll be there. See you soon. Goodbye. It seems as if one half of the engaged couple is among the missing.
What's that supposed to mean?
Now what? What?
It's me.
The Edge of Night is brought to you by Tide. The extra action in Tide means dirt can't hide. And by new Lemon Fresh Joy, for a beautiful shine without towel drying.
My dishes are so beautiful they shine without towel drying.
Dishes shine, really shine. And we don't have to dry!
Before I discovered
We discovered new Lemon Fresh Joy.
I had to dry.
Because with other leading brands would usually get spots.
Not with New Joy.
Only our new Joy leaves dishes practically spot-free.
Beautiful. And without a towel.
Fact is, other leading brands can dry, leaving spots. New Joy's unique anti-spotting formula lets dishes dry practically spot-free, down to the shine.
That's beautiful.
Without a towel. So
We've discovered a whole new way to shine.
Try new Lemon Fresh Joy for a beautiful shine, without a towel.
How far does a mom have to go to see her kids clean?
All the way to the high country!
Where our toughest test of clean is below the age of 10, and the same clothes get dirty over and over again.
My extra action kid needs an extra action tie.
Kids can be tough all around. Even Pink and Sweet has trouble keeping neat, so go ahead and splotch them, splash them, splatter them. Clean your spot. Tide gets it clean. Tide's America's favorite. From ice cream to mud, Tide'll tough clean it. You've just seen it. Now, here's your joy and pride. Same kids, same clothes, spanking clean with Tide.
An extra action kid needs an extra action tide. Tide country!
Claim your spot, Tide gets it clean.
I know Nancy's out of town. She already told me about it, but I had to see you before the party.
You're not going to do anything drastic, are you?
Something drastic was done to me.
What? Have you learned something?
Yes, I learned about what kind of terrible people we're dealing with. I was kidnapped.
You were what?
The man that I told you about is in Monticello, the one on the island.
Leopold Snell?
Yes, that's right. He sent someone to pick me up from the bridal shop, and I thought that Ian had sent a chauffeur.
Well, I thought you said they'd patched up their differences, Snell and Devereaux.
Well, obviously, Snell didn't believe Ian when he said he didn't have the phone book, or else he wanted to get back at him for that joke he played on the island.
You mean Snell held hostage? Where?
I don't know, some rooming house. Anyway, he's gone.
But what happened? Don't tell me that Ian gave away that document.
Well, how could he pay the ransom without it?
Well, he gave him a forgery, and then he pulled the gun on him, and Snell got all upset and crumpled, and then all of a sudden everything was all right. Isn't that weird?
Evidently, those two need each other.
All right, did you hear anything? Anything that you hadn't heard on the island?
No, I tried. I listened, but the door was really heavy, and I couldn't hear a word.
Now, wait a minute. Devereaux had to do some fancy explaining, didn't he? I mean, he can't just go on posing as an ordinary businessman.
I know, that's what I thought. I thought I would finally be able to get some good information out of him, but he wouldn't tell me anything. However, he did promise to tell me everything.
When?
On our wedding night. So now what am I supposed to do? Mike, you told me that it was going to be a long engagement, but do you know what Ian's going to do tonight? He's going to announce our wedding next week.
Well, why'd you let him rush you into it?
I didn't. He insisted. That man has a very strong will. He's almost worse than me. As a matter of fact, he already bought the license, and he already hired a chapel, and if we don't do something really fast, in a couple of days, my name is going to be Raven Alexander Jameson Swift Whitney Devereaux.
Well, maybe if we're lucky in a couple of days, you'll have all the answers to the questions we've been looking for.
Mike, you're not going to let that happen, are you?
We'd better get over to that party, Raven.
These flowers are ghastly. I ordered something extravagant. Oh.
Well, I see all our guests are fashionably late, including my fiancé.
Oh, that's not the worst of it. The waiter from the catering service has not yet arrived.
Oh, I'm not sure we need him with only a dozen or so guests coming.
Oh, of course not. Let your sister Camilla do all the work.
I didn't mean that.
Don't expect me to be your waiter this evening. I have an escort.
Oh.
Gavin Wiley. He was reluctant to come at first. Something about his girlfriend's sister. Never mind. I talked him into it.
Well, don't worry about the missing waiter. I've solved that problem.
What did you do?
I called my good friend Skye and borrowed his man.
Mr. Wagner, sir.
Hello, Gunther. I hope you don't mind being indentured for the evening.
No, sir. It's fine with me. I like parties. I'm very good at parties.
I'm delighted to hear it.
Yes, and I especially like engagement parties. Oh, that reminds me. Congratulations, Mr. Devereaux.
Thank you.
Yes, you see, it came as quite a surprise when I found out that you and Miss Alexander were going to get married. You see, I always figured that this party was going to be at the Whitney house.
Did you really?
Yes, ma'am. You see, I always figured Miss Alexander was going to marry the boss. But then, well, I guess you never know how these things go, huh?
That's right, Gunther. You never do.
Well, thank you, Gunther. That'll be all. Cassie will show you what to do.
A jolly good show. Well, lead on, Sassy.
Cassie.
Well, I suppose you enjoyed that bit of byplay.
Servants always know, Ian. You know that. But don't fear. She's all yours now. I mean, that's obvious, isn't it? The way she is so eager to be here.
A lesson for the young at heart by Mazzola.
A healthy diet, Tim. That's part of thinking young at heart. And that's why Mazzola is our choice for salads and, crispy fried chicken. Mazzola is the only leading brand that's pure corn oil. Our diet's delicious and designed to help me reduce serum cholesterol. Now, you're young, but not too young to start eating smart. A boy after my own heart.
Think young at heart with Mazzola.
You're not mixing A1 steak sauce in your ground beef?
A1 in ground beef?
My dear sister, there is steak in that ground beef. And what's better for steak than A1? And I bet you have.
Here it is. A1's herbs and spices make ground beef taste like ground steak. Hamburgers and meatloaf are juicy and tastier. Just mix 3 tablespoons into every pound. 1, 2, 3.
Mmm, what a difference.
Sure. A1 makes ground beef taste like ground steak.
Yeah. Here. Okay. Salad. Jody, I wish it could have been fair last night at you. Well, you know, I understand why you couldn't be here last night. It was like a big party, wasn't it, Cliff?
Just like a Broadway opening. The only thing you needed were spotlights and drama critics.
I hope there weren't any food critics. Well, Mitzi, you do have to admit it did get a little hairy.
Well, now, Dee Dee, I think the problem was in the kitchen. You know, Francesco doesn't really have hang of the oven, and yes, he did overcook a few things.
Well, Mitzi, this looks perfect.
Oh, well, salads sound great.
Anyway, the only press coverage was before the opening, and it really wasn't too much. Why?
Well, there were 2 openings that night. You see, they came here early, and then they had to run over to the video disco to cover that. It was all in the newspaper. Didn't you read it?
No, I didn't.
Well, you are lucky because I have a copy of that famous review. Jody, I'm sorry. I forgot that was on the, I guess with a headline like that, everything else seems kind of trivial, doesn't it?
You don't apologize, okay? Because I realize how important the rock garden is to you.
Jody, what's going on with that anyways? I mean, your sister isn't in...
No, Mitzi, she's not in jail. There's another story in tonight's paper. Nicole Kavanaugh was granted bail.
But that doesn't mean she's really free, does it?
No. She won't be free until she's acquitted, and there's not really much of a chance.
That's wrong. That's wrong. No. She doesn't have to be acquitted to be free. We're trying to get her off on a lesser plea.
We're going to argue that Nicole suffered a kind of mental collapse that night, that she wasn't even responsible for her actions.
Not only not responsible, she wasn't even aware. See, if you read her statement, at the time of strangulation, at the moment of the asphyxiation, she...
Cliff, please,
Yes, this is a stupid conversation.
I'm sorry.
You all need water. I'm getting water, and I'm getting you a fork. Yes.
Dee Dee, when you say we are working on this case, do you mean that as an editorial we? No, Jody. If it's all right with you, Cliff and I are going to work on this case together.
If you hire the law firm, you get the whole law firm. We're going to do everything we can to help Nicole, and 2 heads are better than 1.
Yeah, that's what they say. No, I'm grateful that you'll both be working on this. I think you know how important this case is to us, Jody, and it's not just because of business.
No, I know.
It's because you're both good friends.
You have a lot of good friends in Monticello, and so does Nicole. See, that's what I'm hoping when we get to trial. The prosecution won't be able to find 12 people in this town who don't like her.
Speaking of friends, Jody, where's Gavin these days?
Didn't he come to the opening last night?
Well, I'm sure he was here, but he was alone.
Well, I might as well tell you this so you stop wondering. Gavin and I aren't seeing each other anymore.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
Is this because Gavin was a witness against Nicole?
It was a mutual decision, Cliff. We didn't quarrel, and I don't have any bad feelings towards him. He did what he thought was right, but we're just not seeing each other anymore.
After an afternoon of this, you're not just tired, you're exhausted. That's why one thing waiting for every player in the NFL is Coast Deodorant Soap. With its stimulating scent and lather that feels terrific, Coast refreshes you and restores you and picks you up in a way no other soap can. And if Coast can help after this, imagine how it can make you feel after a day in the office. No tired is too tired for Coast.
It's National Children's Dental Health Month. So, Crest wants to remind your kids to brush often and make it easier to take your kids to the dentist with a $5 Crest checkup check.
Get your required certificate at participating stores. Have it signed by your dentist, send it with 5 proofs of purchase, and Crest will mail you a check for $5.
Gee, I think Chris must care a lot about kids' teeth to do that.
Perino's, the world-famous Los Angeles restaurant, where just reading the menu is a delight. Tonight, we're secretly replacing the fine coffee they usually serve here with dark, sparkling Folgers crystals. Let's watch.
Coffee's fantastic.
It tastes rich. It just has a rich taste.
It's Folgers crystals.
I don't believe it. Folgers crystals, I'm going to go to the market and buy it.
This is neat stuff.
Folgers crystals, coffee rich enough to be served in America's finest restaurants.
I had to see you to convince you you've got to accept his proposal.
What?
Now, don't get excited. I'm not saying you have to marry him or anything like that, but if he gets on that plane for Europe, that's going to ruin any chance that you and I have. You're just going to have to get engaged to him.
Well, what happens after the engagement?
Nothing has to happen. Don't you see what I'm saying?
No!
Raven, Sky agrees you've got to take the next step. You've got to say yes to Ian. And hope that you'll get close enough during your engagement period to find out that...
Short engagement.
Install him, honey. Come on, you can do that.
Well, what if I can't?
Even if you have to marry him, it won't be a real marriage.
So how far is this thing gonna go? You want me to have a couple of his kids, too?
Raven, I am fighting for both of us, honey. The only chance that we have.
You almost ready?
Don't rush me, Spencer.
Party started almost an hour ago, Sky, but it's obvious you're in no particular hurry. I'm thinking you'd rather not attend.
Yeah, you're a regular mind reader, Spencer. In some cases, that can be of an advantage. In other cases, it's detestable.
If you didn't want to go, why did you accept the invitation?
Because Ian is my oldest and dearest friend. How could I possibly have turned him down? Did you speak to Miss Bryson?
Yes, I spoke to her.
And?
Well, she said she understood. What else did you expect her to say?
She didn't say anything about me having you call and not calling myself?
I'm sure she's used to your ways by now, Sky.
You think I'm callous, don't you, Spencer?
No, Sky, I think you're becoming an enigma. Something's bothering you. It has been for weeks. Obviously, you're not going to tell me about it. If I had my guess, I'd say it concerns Raven Alexander.
What do you mean, Raven Alexander? In a few days, there isn't going to be any Raven Alexander. She's going to be Mrs. Ian Devereux.
Aha! There you are. And with 2 escorts. My.
You must feel the need for a great deal of protection, Raven. The district attorney and the chief of police.
Well, I was hoping they'd bring me here with all the sirens blaring, but...
Actually, Raven stopped by to see my wife, so we all decided to come here together.
Where is your lovely wife?
Unfortunately, she had to leave the country suddenly, on an assignment for her paper.
Well, come in and join the party.
Okay. Would you like
It's a good thing I didn't wait for you at home, my dear, because I'd still be waiting.
I'm sorry, Geraldine.
Where in heaven's name have you been? And don't give me that excuse about having to see Nancy Carr, because you know, as well as I do, that she is in South America.
None of it matters anyway. I'm here, aren't I? I'm hungry.
Good evening.
Gavin, you look delicious.
Yeah, just like the little guy with the wedding cake.
Don't give me any ideas. Well, oh, here, have a drink. Thank you, Gunther.
I'm really not a champagne drinker, Camilla.
But this is a champagne occasion. It's mandatory, darling. Now, tell me your news.
Well, if you're talking about the theater, you know as much about it now as I do.
Oh, no, I'm not referring to that. I'm very curious to hear about Jody's sister. How is...
I'd really rather not talk about it, Camilla.
Of course not. No more said, I promise. Come meet my darling brother. Ian, I want you to meet the famous producer.
Very pleased to meet you, Mr. Wiley.
Nice to meet you.
You have my sympathies.
For what?
For having to put up with my sister Camilla as your production assistant.
You're a very brave man. Someday they'll establish a medal for people like you.
Well, I didn't care very much for the idea myself, Mike. You know how highly I regard Nicole, and not just because of our work together.
Yes, it is hard to believe, Geraldine.
It was very nice of you to produce that bail.
Oh, nonsense. There was no hardship, and certainly no risk whatever.
Well, that made all the difference between Nicole having to spend a night in jail or spending a night with her family.
Just can't believe that you intend to separate her from her family. Surely you don't believe that Nicole lured that woman to the studio for the purpose of killing her?
No, we don't think that, Geraldine. We think that it's something that just happened after she got there.
Champagne, Miss Alexander.
There, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just helping out Mr. Whitney's old friend. Congratulations, by the way. You made a pretty nice catch. Not as good as the boss, but then you win some, lose some, hmm?
Good evening, Camilla. I'm sorry we're so late. We had some difficulties with the car.
No matter. Spencer, I think you know Gavin.
Yes, well, of course we do. It was on Spencer's recommendation that I received the job at the Whitney Theater.
Well, in that case, we both have to be very grateful to you, Spencer.
Well, let me offer my heartiest congratulations on this very, very happy day.
Thank you, Sky. Valerie, you look lovely.
Thank you, Ian.
You know, Sky, you should really do something about this lovely lady before she gets away from you.
Hello there, Sky, Valerie.
Hi. Best wishes and all that.
Thank you.
I'm very happy for you. It must have been a whirlwind courtship.
Well, you know what they say in the good book?
No, actually, I don't.
You're kidding. I mean, I'm sorry. I just would have thought you would have been a perfect Bible student. And you want to know something? I bet you always won the spelling bees, too, didn't you?
Well, actually, no. I was a very poor speller. I had trouble with words like insidious. Ian, you haven't told us when the date is going to be.
Next Friday. Not soon enough for me.
And you're planning a small wedding?
Yes. I've asked Sky to be my best man.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Why?
I'm not going to be here. See, I've got to go away for a few days on a business trip.
Oh, Major, you sure have a nose for beef. Now, hold on. Hold on, will you? I know it's Alpo time. Come on, I'll get you some. It's right here, right in the old Alpo meat locker. You know, dogs have a natural love for beef, and that's why Alpo beef chunks dinner is packed with the beef dogs thrive on. And that's real beef in Alpo, and beef is what dogs love. So give your dog Alpo, because Alpo's got the beef that dogs love to eat. Right, Major? Huh?
Now, the look you want is the feel of kindness. New Extra Curly Perm by Kindness. The look is extra curly. The feel is extra soft. The proof is extra curly conditioning. It actually conditions as it works for curlier curls that last and last beautifully. New Extra Curly Perm by Kindness. Go on. Feel the look.
Two men vying for one woman.
I think you're running away because you're in way over your head with your submarine boy.
Will you marry me?
I love you, and I'm going to do everything I can to get you back.
Ali McGraw and Herman Wouk's The Winds of War. Premiering Sunday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
I think we'll be ready for the theater opening around the end of March, but I still think that's pushing things. I'm looking forward to seeing it, Gavin.
And I'm looking forward to a refill. My glass is empty.
I'll get it. Excuse me. So, how do you enjoy working for the man, Camilla?
I adore it. And I adore him. Especially since he's become so much nicer to work for now.
Now?
Now that he's unencumbered. Or hadn't you heard that he and his little girlfriend, Jody Travis, have broken up?
The two of you just must see Ian's train collection. It's fabulous.
Well, I'll ask him to show it to us later on.
And there's food right here. You haven't eaten anything.
Well, I'm not really hungry. Perhaps I can get you something, Val.
No, that's okay. I think I'll get it myself. Excuse me.
Of course.
Skylar, you simply must meet me in the train room.
What?
You know where it is. It's right downstairs. I'll say I'm going to the powder room.
Raven, we can't do this. It's crazy.
Meet me in the train room in 2 minutes, or I'm going to tell Ian the whole wedding's off.
Wait a minute.
No, I've got
There's something we have to discuss.
I have to go to the ladies' room.
But it's the other way.
May I help you, Miss Bryson?
Oh, no, thank you, Gunther. I'm fine.
Mm-hmm. Well, you must be feeling very happy about tonight.
Why do you say that?
Well, you know, Miss Alexander getting hitched and all, it rather leaves an open feel, doesn't it?
Oh, Raven, this is insane.
I know you said something about leaving me. You didn't mean it, did you?
Yeah, I'm going away.
You can't. You can't go away. Not when I'm in trouble. It's not fair.
You think it's fair to me? You think it's fair to me to stay here? To see the woman that I love marry somebody else?
Hello, Jody. Have you seen my fiancée?
Oh, yes, Ian, I believe she went to the powder room.
No, sir. I saw her go through the door to the downstairs room.
Aha. She's probably showing off my trains. I think I'll have to supervise. Would you excuse me?
If you think beautiful skin is only something you're born with, get wind of new Sea Breeze Scrub.
Beautiful skin can be a breeze with Sea Breeze.
The new scrub with tiny buffing beads scrubs clean.
Beautiful skin can be a breeze with Sea Breeze.
Buffs away old skin cells, leaves new skin glowing.
Beautiful skin can be a breeze.
Beautiful. Try the new cleanser, too.
Look, I wanted answers about aspirin-free pain relief, so I asked about Datril.
So did I.
Me too.
I learned Datril is 100% aspirin-free.
It has the same aspirin-free pain reliever as extra-strength Tylenol.
And it's just as strong. Also, Datril is sealed for protection.
So ask questions about aspirin-free pain relief.
Ask your doctor about Datril from Bristol-Myers.
You can't buy more effective aspirin-free pain relief.
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find. Always on my mind. And frustrated days pass without sight. The edge of night. Half dark, half light. Do you think we might wake up someday and be aware of all the games people play? Living circles of unending strife as we look for light.
Tonight on ABC's World News Tonight, an exclusive report. New U.S. spy technology. Pentagon correspondent John McWethy reveals a new system that could revolutionize military aerial spying techniques. ABC News, uniquely qualified to bring you the world.
Too tired to cook? Your grocer's freezer has a great Italian restaurant. Ronzoni's delicious Italian entrees at 1/3 the cost of eating out.
I'm Roseanne Scamardella. Coming up on the 5 o'clock Eyewitness News, according to reports, tennis star Vitas Gerlaitis expects to be indicted on cocaine charges. There are other reports the indictment could come at any minute. We'll have the latest and this.
Why is Joey Heatherton out of a job? I'm Maxine Black. I'll have a report.
Also, the singing group from Puerto Rico that's causing a sensation here in New York, and spring in February. That story and more at 5 o'clock.
Getting this family to try a caffeine-free cola wasn't easy. They thought they'd have to give up taste, but they didn't with new Pepsi Free. Leave it to Pepsi to make caffeine-free cola taste this terrific. Pepsi Free. There's regular and sugar-free.
Brand new from good old